This week we are covering Krypto's favorite outfit to put on when he goes out on the weekends.
I am pretty Krypto.
You're pretty Krypto today. Welcome to the CodeX Cantina. I am Una.
I am pretty Krypto.
And today we are doing the Diamond Necklace, sometimes just referred to as the Necklace by Guy de Maupassant. We are kind of branching out as a part of our international short story movement here going on for the rest of the year. And did you have to read this in high school, Krypto?
I did not read this in high school. First time reading it.
I did. I remember this story. I actually didn't remember that I had read it. I selected this piece. When I read it, I was like, oh, yeah, this one. I remember this from high school, like freshman year almost.
That's cool.
This is kind of like the, remember our Lamb to the Slaughter talk?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
About how Roald Dahl teaches irony in a very simple, clear way. I think this is used frequently in a similar fashion, but I remember this being a way to learn a form of irony in school.
I don't remember which book we used or story in high school. I had a really cool English teacher, writing teacher, Miss Borst, and she was very young, so we read a lot of modern, I don't want to say like hip stuff, but we would not be reading a story from the late 19th century.
Guy de Maupassant wrote hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of short stories. You can actually read for free. We have a link down below where this is available in his fourth short story collection, I believe of 13. It's crazy how prolific he was. Now, while we are somewhat new to French literature, particularly in the short story form. We have a friend out there, Matthew, from the Mayberry Book Club, who is not. It's actually, I believe it's one of his favorite authors. But he was talking about the last part of the story, and he said how just that twist at the end elevates the rest of the story. And I couldn't agree more, where it seems like that's like a shtick of Maupassant is the twist ending, I guess.
Yeah, he definitely sticks the ending here, and that's a make or break it for any story, movie, game, anything, right? It comes down a lot of times to the ending, especially since, I mean, not to be mean, but the story's a little mediocre until then, and that really brings it home for me.
You judge so quickly, I tell you. You are a judger.
I'm a judger. That's kind of the purpose here, right? All right, so moving into a plot on the Diamond Necklace. It's a pretty simple, straightforward story. It's a very short story, but basically there's this family that is, I would consider lower middle class in the late 19th century in France, and this lady wants a better life for herself. And so they get the husband gets them invited to go to a ball, and she's kind of like poo-poo on it at first because she's like, I don't have a dress. And so he's like, I'll give you money to get a dress. And she's like, well, I don't have any jewelry. And she's like, well, let's go beg our rich friend to wear some jewelry. So she goes over, and she's kind of, I don't like this. Doesn't look good. Do you have anything better? And the lady's like, well, yeah, I got this awesome diamond necklace. And she's like, I want that diamond necklace. So she wears the diamond necklace to the party, and the party is amazing for her, and the food and the dancing and everything, and it goes on, and the husbands are all like worn out, but the women are having, an awesome time. And when they get home, they realize that she's lost the necklace, and they have to work they have to take a loan out to buy a new necklace to replace it, and then they have to work the next 10 years of their lives trying to pay off this loan. And when it comes to the end of the story, she gets to her friend. The friend's like, oh, that thing? Oh, it was fake. And you're like, what? Oh, she just wasted 10 years of her life on a fake necklace.
And there's a lot of irony in this story. Like we talked about the ending in terms of the situational irony, where we find out at the end the expectation of this being a diamond necklace. It's actually not a diamond necklace. I know you said did the friend actually say it was a diamond necklace? I don't remember that.
She might have just said necklace.
But there's a lot of irony in the twist at the end. But there's even some subtle irony throughout this, such as they live on the I can't pronounce French words, but I assume it's Rue des Martyrs. They live on the Road of Martyrs in the English translation, which equates ironic in the sense that they then worked 10 years as martyrs to pay off this necklace that they didn't actually have to even pay off.
That's a good one.
All right, so let's talk a little bit more deeply, as we do here on the Codex Cantina, about these characters. We got to talk about this main character, this female, because I feel like a lot of people, I don't want to say dislike, but you're not meant to have at least sympathy for this main character, I feel like. Is that a fair place to start with this character?
Yeah, I think that Mathilde is a character that you're supposed to dislike pretty much from the beginning, and you're supposed to look down upon through all of the story, and then at the end of the story, she got hers, right? She got what was coming to her, and you're like, oh yeah, and you feel all happy and warm and fuzzy inside because she's supposed to kind of be the villain of the story, quote.
It's I wouldn't say villain. She's a character that she has everything that she needs. Her misery, this working the 10 years, the wanting to surface level raise your how you look, right? Because the husband gave her money out of his, what was it, like some hunting fund, like something that was for him, and he's like, well, I want my wife to be happy, so the husband kind of sacrifices for her to no real end other than for her to feel good about how she looks compared to the rest of society at this ball. That she's set up to be this character that is very self-interested, right? And generally we look down on selfishness, and self-interest tends to kind of be a little bit more in the eye of the beholder, I feel like.
Definitely. Yeah, she's being painted in a very specific way to spark emotions in you of some type of negative view.
The things that she does, like her desire for, I'm going to say materialism, but that's what brings down her downfall. So in terms of her selecting to use the money for the gown, her selecting to borrow that necklace, her deciding not to tell her friend the truth, she is bringing that, like, that's her character flaw that she's bringing to this puzzle. So I like that Maupassant didn't just make bad things happen to her, right? Because if just bad things happen to her, I think that might push her more towards either unlucky, if there was someone else opposing her, maybe more of an antagonistic role, like you said, but she is the only character that we follow through this piece, so therefore she is our hero that we don't really care for.
She has her own downfall, yeah.
Now, I don't know a ton about Maupassant, but I have heard that there has been some criticism about how he maybe looks at women.
So I think this takes me to my point of how you could look at this story different, and how Maupassant, while being criticized of how he wrote women, you could look at this as a completely different view. And like we do here on the CodeX Cantina, I think you could take this story and make a good claim that this was actually very progressive for the time period of women wanting more. And I'm going to try to prove it to you. And I'm going to try to prove it using some very important quotes from this story as well.
Okay, let's hear it.
So women's role in late 19th century France is one of servitude. They are cooking and cleaning. They're supposed to stay at home, take care of the kids. They live in a very stereotypical, misogynistic role that, is put in by a male society, right?
Okay.
And in this story, if you take out the ideal of wealth or materialism, as you put it, and put in the right to vote, you could say that Maupassant was saying that Mathilde wants more for her own life.
Okay, so you're taking it down the route of the desire for something. So in this story, it was the appearance, right? The physical item of the necklace, and it didn't have to be valuable. It just had to make her look valuable. You're saying that desire for something we don't have, you can kind of, you're taking the interpretation route where it's women pushing for things that they don't have in a time where they're being oppressed. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think that wealth is representing their need for something that they don't have. And in this story, she has nothing. I mean, if you look at it from a different viewpoint, she has to ask for the money. She has to ask to be able to go do this. And while, yes, the husband is, quote, viewed as the good guy here, and, oh, I'll sacrifice, my money for my hunting rifle or trip or whatever, she didn't have the ability to go to her own bank account and just be like, I'll go buy my own stuff. And so I think that in this story, in maybe Maupassant can be criticized for how he writes in other stories, but here, where women are underrepresented in politics and underrepresented in education and in doctors and lawyers and higher professions, he's just saying that she wants a better life for herself, and he's using materialism to say that. And yes, she may be painted in a negative view, but if you just take out wealth and replace the right to vote, I think you can make a really good argument here. And I have a quote for you. French women didn't get the right to vote until 1945, a year after the end of World War II. And so from the story, it says, "For women belong to no caste, no race, and their grace, their beauty, and their charm serve them in the place of birth and family." And that's a very, very misogynistic quote, right?
Sure, it's saying that they have a place. If we look at all of the women in the story, okay, so how many are there? There's her, right? There's a bunch of background characters, and then there's the friend. Those are the two women.
Yeah.
And the friend, we don't know much about, right?
Right.
But I wouldn't say she's painted negatively. Is that a fair statement?
Fair.
We don't know what her wants are. So we are left with the idea that this woman, it's either this woman or this woman is representative of something of across all of society. And I can see how in this statement, "For women belong to no caste, no race, their grace." Is this one of those situations where you use a single person to represent all of society? I could see that. I mean, if you have the argument and you can back it up, it's there. Out of curiosity, do you know when women started pushing for the right to vote? Or are you just using that as an example and you're saying it's the rights that women don't have, where they're put in a caste in society per this quote here?
Yeah, so women in the United States start pushing, of course, in the late 1800s, and then we have somewhat of a revolution in France at the time period, but then everything gets bogged down and kind of put to the back burner because of World War I, and then we'll see a resurgence in women's suffrage, especially in the United States, and getting granted the right to vote, and then slowly over the next 20 years, through the 1920s, we'll see women start pushing for it. Great Depression slows it down again, but after French women helping in World War II, when it's finally pushed through in 1945. So it's a slow process over many, many decades.
Let's talk a little bit more high level, or not high level, low level, I should say. If that's like a really high theory thing, let's go to something that's very tangible, which I feel like is maybe the necklace itself. What would you say the purpose of or symbology of the necklace is in this story? Desire
or want.
Is it everything you want and is not real, or is it just everything you want?
Is that a riddle?
Well, if you think about it, when she wanted the necklace, the fake necklace, the costume made out of paste or whatever my English translation was, she was happy. At the ball, she couldn't have been more ecstatic for the reaction that she was getting. So in time, that necklace was perfect for her.
Yeah.
It's not everything that you need, but it's everything that you wanted, right? So here it's somehow translating to this idea of it doesn't have to be real, but if you're happy in the moment, that's all that matters. And if you take a look and compare it to the husband in the story, where remember when he came home and they're having soup. Now soup, I love soup, don't get me wrong with soup, but it is considered a poor man's meal, right? It's very cheap to make. You can make it in batch, feed a large family. That's the kind of literary history behind it. And the husband comes home. And he's like, "Oh my gosh, soup, this is amazing." Like he was so excited for like his favorite meal. And she's sitting there thinking about, we have the quote, "She thought of the exquisite food served on marvelous dishes, of the whispered gallantries, listened to with the smile of the Sphinx while eating the rose-colored flesh of the trout or a chicken's wing." So here she's imagining other things. Like, so I would rather have this than the soup, right? The soup being a poor man's thing, chicken's wing and trout being the expensive thing.
Yeah.
But when she had the fake necklace and didn't know it wasn't the expensive diamond necklace, she was satisfied.
Yeah.
So to me, I think you said it right, where it's the thing that satisfies you. It doesn't have to actually be the most valuable thing or the thing that you want, but it's the thing that can satisfy you in the moment. And that's what I think the necklace kind of represents in the story.
Yeah, I think there was a couple of different very stereotypical quotes that we could kind of embed in here, and that, one man's trash is another man's treasure. You give value to anything. I can say, "Oh, this is worth $1 million," only if I can find somebody who wants to give $1 million to me for it. And that she was ignorant. She was ignorant, bliss in her ignorance, right?
Right. Ignorance is bliss, right?
Ignorance is bliss.
The last thing I really wanted to point out, which is really more esoteric to us in our channel if you've been following along with any of our books, is this character has everything that she needs and only things that she wants, but she doesn't appreciate everything that she has.
Ooh.
Her husband tolerates the behavior, tries to please her. Her suffering is caused by her own materialism and hubris. Do you know a character that we followed in another book that is literally this exact same way, note for note?
This sounds like my favorite character of all time.
This is Anita. This is Anita from Player Piano. So it's interesting because what kind of distinguishes these characters is they're so driven by their desires. They're not living, I don't want to say in the present, but they're not appreciating anything that they have. And I think from most readers' perspective, I think we're going to look down upon that. That if all you're looking for is the future and you're not appreciative of the friends that you have, the items that you have, the husband that's sacrificing for you, that's a negative thing that you're going to look at from a character's perspective and just say, like, I really don't care for that character.
Yeah, we don't know for certain, but at the end of the story, you could make a speculation that the husband was very resentful of his wife for what they went through because she had to have the gown, had to have the necklace, and they suffer as a result for that. Now, I don't necessarily know that for certain, but you could use your imagination on that. And I think that what it comes down to is that it's wealth for her, granted her freedoms that she didn't have.
I like that. It's a fun interpretation. All right, guys, so let's leave the analysis side and let's enter more of the subjective side of things. So this is just going to be how they hit us. Now, in terms of whether we recommend it for you, we're going to do our wrap-up video at the end of the month where you can get that information for. So just in terms of how this video hit us, Krypto, give me your rating of this.
Oh, I'm going to give it a solid 8.
Ooh, even though the main character was Anita, your least favorite character of all time, that's shocking. All right, I'm going to go with an 8 as well. We're gonna tag team the 8 tonight.
Yeah, I love this story. I think that you could look at it from our two different viewpoints of she got her upcomings, and that can make you feel warm and fuzzy inside, or you can look at it from a deeper meaning and understand that maybe there's more to this story than you realize, and it just isn't her getting what she deserves, but there's a lot of meat here, and I like that we got so much out of such a short story. There's a thing that we always say around here is how can stories and books change you internally? And you could look to live your life differently if you didn't want to live your life like her. So life lessons are always hugely important, getting something out of readings.
I appreciate that, Krypto. Good job tonight. If you liked discussions like this, we do this all the time, every Monday, Thursday, and usually there's a third video a week. Please consider subscribing to follow along in the literature fun. And then also occasionally we do tag videos where we're terrible at those. So please subscribe. Peace out.
Peace.